So this is if they have a question, hand it to them. All right, guys, welcome. My name's Lanny Lewis. I'm a teaching faculty in the School of Entrepreneurship, and I have the privilege of teaching in the commercial side. I teach product development in a marketing class, and I also teach on the retail side, branding and buying. My background, I spent 15 years in corporate retail at Eckerd and CVS Pharmacy. Left in 11 to start consulting to help people sell into CVS, Walgreens, Walmart, Target. Also opened a local clothing store in town called Southern Compass Outfitters about 6 years ago, and started teaching full-time here at the School of Entrepreneurship in 2016. So my whole career has been around taking products to market, and through that course I've worked on maybe about 40 different brands and launched maybe about 4,000 different items, a lot of those at CVS. So my specialty is in health and beauty products, but I have worked in a lot of other segments as well. Okay? So as we go through today, a lot of it's going to be familiar if you're trying to take a product to market, maybe in the health and beauty space would be ideal. Okay? So the title is Building and Marketing Your Brand. My topics today is who will buy and why. I want you to picture your brand. We're going to give the brand a name and voice, and we need to protect it. And then we need to think about some effective messaging and a path forward for us as entrepreneurs. And that's one of the underlying things that we're going to need to think about is we don't have unlimited funds, and we don't have unlimited resources. So we've got to be smart in our decisions. Okay? We're not working for a big company that's got a lot of money to throw at it. We have to be lean and mean as we go to market and try to make decisions that help us not have to spend as much money. Okay? So the first question in any entrepreneurial venture that you need to think about is who's going to buy the product? Who's your target market? Okay? From that, everything else is going to stem from. Okay? And when we think about the target market or this first market, the customer with the biggest pain point, okay, that's going to appreciate our work the most, we need to be able to define them. Okay? We need to be able to measure them, reach them, and hopefully they're meaningful to our opportunity. Okay? And so one way to define them, and it can be done in a lot of different ways, we could think about it from some demographic information or psychographic information, maybe age or gender, maybe their occupation, where they live, what shows they watch, what other brands they buy, how they spend their time. Okay? We just need a handful of these. Okay? We want to grab a few of these and we want to start to sketch a picture of this target customer in our head. Okay? And from that point forward, that's who we're going to speak to. Okay? When I was at CVS, we defined our target customers as Caroline, Vanessa, and Sophie. Okay? Caroline was a young 20-something out of college working female, single. Vanessa was 35 plus, married, 2 kids, job of her own. And Sophie was a retiree, 65 plus, empty nester that no longer had children at home. Okay? Why did we name those customers Caroline, Vanessa, and Sophie, and we use acronyms called CVS? It helped us think about them. It helped us frame what we were talking about. There was a common speak among colleagues that, oh, this is a Vanessa item. And when we would say Vanessa item, everybody automatically knew 35 plus, 2 kids, time-starved, job, balancing everything. So, and the other thing we would do, besides defining them, we would attribute their sales worth. And we might say that Caroline was worth about 20% of the business, and maybe Vanessa was worth maybe about 60% of the business, and maybe, Caroline 20, Vanessa 50, maybe Sophie 30, 35, something like that. And even though Caroline was only 20%, and some people would say, it doesn't matter that we focus on her, she becomes Vanessa, who becomes Sophie, okay? And even though Sophie was smaller than Vanessa, Sophie took, on average, 12 prescriptions a day. And so the value of that customer became pretty important. Okay? So as you think about your target customer, it'd be important for you to try to identify them, maybe give them a name and an identity that helps you move forward. Okay? The second major question, besides who are they, is why would they buy your product? I always like to talk about pizza shops when it comes to value proposition. There's enough pizza shops in the world. We don't need any more right now. Okay? You open one right now, it's going to take business from an existing one. There's not going to be any more people joining the realm of eating pizza. Okay? So for you to do that, for you to open one and take business, you've got to be able to give a reason why someone's going to move away from Gumby's Pizza, Nello's Pizza, Papa John's Pizza, Brickhouse Pizza. Okay? So what is your reason for being? What is your value proposition to them? I like to show this chart where the green area is where we want to live, and only in the green area. Okay? And some boxes are better than others. Okay? So in this 2x2, we got price on one side and we got benefits on the other. It would be ideal in your new product, okay, if you could give somebody more and charge them less. That would be the easiest value proposition you could think about. I'm giving you more and you're going to pay less. Okay? It's not always possible to do that, especially if the marketplace is already defined and we don't have economies of scale or we're new to it. We may not be able to charge a lower price because we may have a higher cost than our competition because they've already established some economies. Okay? So what else could we do? Could we give them more for the same price? Okay, do we match the current competition but give them more value? Okay, that could work. Or do we give them the same value and charge them less? Again, because we're entrepreneurs and we're new and our cost structure may not be that strong, giving them for less is going to be harder for us. Okay? So when we build our product, we need to think about building in more. Okay? And if it takes it, maybe we charge them more, but we got to give them more. Okay? That's a harder one to sell. I'm going to give you more, and I hope you recognize that it's more, but I'm going to charge you more. Okay? Because I have to. So I don't have the economies of scale in that scenario. Okay? So, perfect world, we're giving more for less. But keep this in mind. Who's a customer? Why are they buying from us? Before we do anything, those are the two foundation questions we have to focus on. Okay? The other thing I want you to have in your background is that once you enter the marketplace, the customer is going to view you among your competitors. So I just mentioned a bunch of pizza places. You open your new pizza place, they're going to view you among those other pizza places. You know, on taste, on price, on flexibility, on delivery, on things of that sort. This is an example of some premium SUVs where you got luxury on one side and performance on the other, and you got price. And the size of the bubble is the strength of the brand, or maybe the size of the business. Okay, so the Cadillac Escalade seems to be that right in the middle, big brand with a balance of price, performance, and luxury. Okay, and then on the outskirts, we've got the Range Rover that's all about performance. Okay, and then on the other side, we've got the Lexus that's all about luxury. Now, you may look at this chart before you start and say, I'm going into the pizza business, here are my people that I'm up against, or I'm going into the SUV market, here are the people I'm up against. I would like to land right there. That seems like a sweet spot or an area that hasn't been tapped. Okay? And so that's my intent. That's what I'm gearing my product for, my messaging, all that. The reality is, once we launch, the consumers tell us what we are. Okay? They're going to tell us whether we're luxury or performance. Even though we think we may be luxury, they may say, no, you're not luxury enough. Okay? And so once we're on there, it is what it is, and then we can then, from a marketing standpoint, recognize and try to make maneuvers to get back to where we were, or we may be comfortable where they put us and we may stay there. Okay? All right. With respect to the product that we're selling, I just want to focus on this core customer value. This goes back to the value proposition of why they're buying from us. Okay? I got a couple examples. One is lipstick and one is an iPad. Okay? If they're buying lipstick, they're really buying that because they want hope or appearance or good self-esteem. Okay? Now, they may enjoy the fact that there are some features like moisturizing or color, but really they're putting that product on because they want a good result from the marketplace. Secondly, the iPad. They're really buying it because they want to connect with their cousin or grandparent or sister that's in another state. Okay? They're going to post their things on Facebook or Instagram. They're going to view the others from their family members. They're really buying that iPad for connectivity. Okay? Now, it's going to have, whether it's a 256 or 64, whether it's an 8.5 or 11, those are all determinations of our product specs that we can create and launch with. But we can't lose the reason why they buy the product in the first place, okay, to connect with friends and family. Okay? All right, with that, I want to start getting close to the branding aspects. Before we get there, there's 3 critical questions I need you to answer with your idea, okay, because we all have a lot of ideas. Okay? It's important if we can screen them, we can filter them a little bit. And the 3 questions here is it real? Can we really do this? Okay? Do people really care about what we're doing? Okay? It may be important to us, but go back to that target market. Are there enough of them? Can we talk to them? Will they care as much as we do? Okay? Is it real? Can we win? We may have the best mousetrap ever, but if I ask, show of hands, how many have an Apple phone in the room? Or how about different? Who doesn't have an Apple phone in the room? Okay, 4 or 5. Okay. The ones that have an Apple phone, could I convince you to trade in for a new brand? What if I gave you $100? No. Okay. $500. You lose all your contacts. You got to go 6 months with this Samsung or Motorola or Pixel or whatever brand.
If they could replicate a similar value proposition that iPhone offers, then maybe you can convince me where Apple has its own unique value proposition.
So if your idea is to create a new iPhone that's going to be faster, better camera, I would say to you, you can't win. Okay? Apple has 80-90% market share. You're not going to win in that space. Okay? So let's maybe put our energy towards something that we can win. Okay, and the third one, is it worth it? Is it worth your time? Is it ultimately going to be worth any money to you? Okay, we're not doing this for free. We're not doing this for fun. At the end of the day, we're doing it to try to make a profit. That means if we made a profit, we paid our bills and we had some left over and we can decide how we invest in. Okay? So, is it real? Can we win? And is it worth it? Those are things you need to think about before you jump in. Okay? All right. Now, as you have your idea and you're starting to frame up who's going to buy it, why they're going to buy it from you, I want you to start to picture your brand. Okay? A lot of times it's called a mood board. It's groups of pictures and words and products that help you represent who you are. One of the best mood boards I've come across is from Forever 21. Okay? And if you look at the mood board, there's pictures of people that are, young, and there's a lot of words like convenient, and affordable, and edgy, and trendy, and quirky, cute. You see a bunch of products. You see jewelry, scarves, shoes, outfits, shorts and things of that sort. Okay. From that picture, even if we were not looking at the brand name Forever 21, if that was not there, okay, and I asked you to look at this mood board and tell me some of the things you see. Okay. You might say, well, with the words affordable and trendy, that means it's probably not going to last more than 3 washes in the washing machine. Because if it's affordable, maybe it's not made of the highest quality, and 3 washes mean it's going to start to deteriorate. Or if it's trendy, 3 washes means if I wear it once a month, if I wear it every 2 weeks, maybe that's 6 weeks, 8 weeks. In 8 weeks, is that still going to be on trend? Now, it needs to be affordable if we're only going to get to wear it a few times. If we're only going to get to wear it a few times, 3 times in the wash, or it's going to fall out of trend, then it makes sense for it to be affordable, less on price. Okay? And you see girly and cute and those things. So the other thing that's interesting, we'll talk about it in a minute, about types of brand names. And I'm going to say things like descriptive or suggestive. or maybe experiential or optimal types of brand names. When you look at that Forever 21, that number is pretty iconic, right? So if we were not 21, if we were younger than 21, we can't wait to be 21. Even if we're going to buy our first beer at a gas station, we can't wait to go into that gas station and flip that ID or say, please card me for, I can't wait. I'm ready for it today. And I'm going to show you that ID and be able to buy that first beer or White Claw or whatever you got going on, right? They used to be called wine coolers and Zimas back in the day. Now they're called White Claw and they're out of stock. So good for them, right?
Making a White Claw costume. It's gonna be a White Claw vending machine.
That's empty?
No, I'm gonna have it nice and full, a nice and full White Claw vending machine, and I'll have all these Easter, and I'll get to a party, and I'll be able to give out White Claws.
Right. So you can all relate that if you're not 21, you're excited to be 21 one day. And if you are 21, you can say, you know what, when I was 16 or 18, there was the time, or even 19 or 20, I was like, my friends are 21 and I'm not. That there's going to be a good day when I become 21, okay? Now, where you haven't gone yet, when you become 25 or 28, you may think back to those days when you were 21, and they were good days. Okay? You weren't in the workforce, and you were able to go to the gym at any time, and lots of naps and lots of White Claws, right? So you're 25 or 28 in the marketplace, you're looking back at 21 in a favorable light. Okay? So either way now, we've got consumers looking towards 21, I can't wait. We got consumers looking back at 21 saying, oh, those were the good old days, okay? And so here's a brand that says, if you come shop us, you're going to be forever 21. Okay? It's a great brand name. So picture it. You look at the pictures, the words, it made sense how they landed on that name, and that name makes sense. Okay, so as we get to the name and voice and protect aspect, I do want you to know that your brand is your promise to your customer. It's your reputation. Okay? They determine it. Okay? It's kind of like your name. Sometimes you hear like, my name is the only thing I got, and I'm going to protect it and go to the mat to protect my reputation or my name. Okay? So a brand is like that as well. Okay? So let's not think that the name doesn't matter. The name is real important. Okay? Just like your name's real important. Okay? And one day, if you have the privilege of naming another person, you'll think that's real important too. Okay? So name's important. Okay, so as we're thinking about names, it's got to be easy to say. Okay? As I pick up the phone and say, Jim Rand School of Entrepreneurship, I got to be able to say it. Okay? I got to be able to spell it, especially in today's world, because I'm going to be typing it into my phone or in my computer, and I can have people that aren't so nice buy the URLs or domains or whatever of a misspelled version of it. And so I could type in what I think is the name, I could misspell it because I don't know better, and I could land on something that I did not intend to see. Right? I got to be able to say that. So pick up the phone like you work for the company, it's your brand, you created it, it means more to you than anything. Can you say it, and can somebody spell it? Okay, those are critical aspects. Okay? Can it be memorable? It would be nice. Wouldn't we like to be memorable? You guys move on past Florida State, you call back, old colleague, you say, hey, I was in your class. And they're like, I don't remember you. That would be frustrating. It'd be nice if they're like, oh yeah, you're great. How can I help? Okay? So a brand, no different than a person, we want to be memorable. Okay? It would be nice if we could extend this brand later when it's time for us to grow our business even further. Okay? So you guys are all working on a brand for a product to win a competition. Okay? And you're going to get it into maybe you'll launch it into the marketplace. And your idea of like having a dozen items or 24 items or 100 items is not there right now. Okay? So you can easily say, I don't care about whether I can extend this or not. Okay? But if we were doing this the right way, we would say, you know what? If things go well, maybe I do this aspect, and then I can do that aspect, and then I can do that aspect, and guess what? I don't have to change my name, because it's going to make sense, okay? When I opened a clothing store, Southern Compass Outfitters, I didn't name it Tallahassee Outfitters. I didn't name it Florida Outfitters, okay? Because I had aspirations that maybe one day we would open more than one store. And if we opened more than one store, maybe it wouldn't be in Tallahassee, okay? I mean, think of this Gain Street Pies that opens. Okay, now they got to do Midtown Pies, North Side Pies. I mean, how many Southwood Pies? How many pies are there? That's a branding error. That was a branding mistake when they grew. And now you can say, well, they're using the same font and the same logo is similar, but they're having to multiply their efforts. Okay? When we're branding, we want to do one thing the same way over and over and over and over and over so that we're efficient with it and there's no confusion. I don't have to misspell the name. I mean, people aren't going to, once they learn my name and they know how to spell it, they don't have to relearn it. Okay? Once they get that website locked in their phone, the cookie grabs them or whatever, it always grabs them. Right? Okay. So we want it to be positive. Why? Because we're selling something for more than what we paid. We're selling something that we think has value. What's the definition of value? Paying more than what it cost. If a t-shirt costs me $10 to make, and I sell it for $20, I created $10 in value. Okay? I need to feel pretty good about that. Right? So we want this brand name to feel good. We want to make sure there's no, we don't step in any mines or pitfalls with any translations. And we want to make sure that it's available. We don't want to spend a lot of effort building a brand that someone else can swoop in and take from us, or someone else already has, and they can send us a letter and slow us down or stop us. And we'll talk more about that a little later in the presentation. And then it'd be nice if the brand had meaning. It'd be nice if it had relevance. How many times have someone said, oh, you tell them your name. You say, oh, that's a cool name. How, why did your parents name you that? Oh, well, it's my grandfather's name. Oh, that's cool. It was my mom's maiden name. Oh, I'm from there. Okay? If it has no meaning, and we have to I don't know, they just happen chance. Okay, we lose an opportunity. We lose a branding opportunity if it doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean we can't do it, just means it's not as strong as it could be. Okay? All right, there's three categories I'm going to start with. When you start talking about branding, a lot of people have opinions on how many different types of brands there are. Okay? There could be, one person might say there's 3 types, one person might say there's 5 types, another person could say 8 types. Okay? I'm going to show you some variations of those. But I'm going to start with one that has 3 types. And there's one that says suggestive, descriptive, suggestive, and this empty vessel. Okay? I'll show you a couple of these. We see some examples of descriptive. I'll show you a few more in a minute. But we got shredded wheat over there. Guess what that's made of? That's shredded wheat. Nothing else going on that cereal other than shredded wheat. If you like shredded wheat, you're in good shape. Okay? If you're looking for Cheerios, not the cereal for you, right? You want Toys R Us. Do we know what? I mean, they went away, but now they're back. They're coming back online. When they were here, were we clear what they had in their building? We were toys. Now, did they have some extension issues? A little bit. What happens when they wanted to offer baby products? They had to create another name called Babies R Us, right? Now, we still got the R Us part, and so oh, well, Babies R Us and Toys R Us, they must be the same people, same brand, okay? But we knew from the toy piece, what if they got into the gaming business? They were going to open their own game store. Think Games R Us would be how or Electronics R Us? Probably so is how they had thought about it, okay? The suggestive piece, we'll spend more time. This is where I really prefer you to consider going with your branding, okay? Because it brings some uniqueness and creativeness from you and can show some personality. An example here I've got here is Twitter. And if you think about this bird, this Twitter bird, right, out in the, wake up, you hear the birds chirping outside in the open marketplace. Some people might think it sounds nice. Some people may think it's annoying, a bunch of noise. Okay? Imagine from a tweet standpoint, you guys could be on Twitter and making a bunch of noise. Okay? Or some people may appreciate the sound that you're making from that standpoint. Okay? So nice suggestive piece. Where I want you to be careful about is this empty vessel category, which means nothing to the product. Okay? There's no connection. It's got great flexibility. You could go to market in anything, but it means nothing, and we have to spend a lot of time and money to educate the customer what we are. Okay? So I got a great example. I don't know if any of back in the Super Bowl, you guys see the commercial where there's a purple box in the road, and they're asking people to like pronounce the name of the business, and they're saying like Rakuten or Rakuten or the brand's Rakuten. I mean, you can go see the Golden State Warriors. They got it on their jersey, so it's clearly a big brand, right? What is that brand all about? It's a loyalty program that if you sign up and shop, they'll give you some coupons. Now, nobody knows that when they're watching the commercial about how to say their name. And so they kind of broke branding 101. They created a name that people can't spell or say, right? And now they're spending money trying to tell you what they are, how to say their name. Then once you know how to say their name, they'll try to hopefully figure out what they do. Okay? So it's okay. You can be Caterpillar and be in the tractor business, but it's going to take a long time and a lot of money for you to convince people what you're all about, what your brand means. Okay? You guys don't have a lot of time, a lot of money as entrepreneurs. Okay? So you got to be efficient in your branding. And so I want you to avoid this empty vessel. So here's another scenario where we got 5 instead of 3. And what I'm going to ask you to do is to really zoom in between this descriptive and suggestive, and ignore the arbitrary and fanciful because they fall in the empty vessels. Okay? It's going to cost too much money for you to create a brand called Apple and create iPhones or computers or TVs. Okay? It's going to be too hard for you to create a brand called Shell and sell gas or convenience products. Okay? It has nothing to do with it. People aren't going to say, where do you work? Shell may help you. What do you sell? You sell shells? No, I don't sell shells. I sell gas. Okay? So more effort, more time, going to have to do that. And then you can make up words like Xerox or Kodak, and even harder. Okay? It'll be hard to spell, hard to describe. Okay? So I'm going to show you some quick ones that work. Slim Fast. I love how the Slim is thinner than the Fast. You notice on that logo? The Slim is thinner than the Fast. And the Fast is darker than the Slim. So what does that look like to you? It looks like it gets in intensity. So once we get to the F, do we speed up? Okay? If we drink this, are we going to slim down fast? Okay? Now, I can even go further and have a nice bottle with a pulled in waist and broad shoulders and all those other things. Okay? So I can do some more branding with my packaging, but just first and foremost, from a descriptive standpoint, I want to slim down fast. I want a flat rate quote when I'm moving. You guys need to move out of your 1-bedroom. You call flat rate. They say, flat rate moving, can I help you? Yes, I got a 1-bedroom. I need to move. They say, how big is it? You say, 1,000 square feet. They say, $1,000. Like, how do you know? You haven't even come and looked. I have a big couch that pulls out. Doesn't matter. 1-bedroom, 1,000 square feet, $1,000. I say, oh, I made a mistake. It's actually 1,500 square feet. Oh, that's $1,500. $1,500. You didn't even look at what I had. Didn't matter. I got a flat rate. Okay? I don't have to worry about the whole, like, what's it going to cost? Are they going to pack it up? Or are they going to, what happened? It's all right there for me. Okay? A couple faster ones. Simply Orange. What do we think's in there? Even the commercial shows about 3 or 4 oranges dropping in there. Right? What happens if they didn't want to do orange juice anymore? Oh, they got a little bit of a problem. And they're now Simply Lemonade. And then, so now, are they Simply? No, they're Simply Lemonade, Simply Orange. We got to do, if I'm going to have a polo that says Simply Orange when I go on the call to Publix, the next time, do I wear a different shirt that says Simply Lemonade, or do I start stacking these logos? I got a bunch of Simply things, right? Okay. So it's very descriptive, very helpful, but it wasn't very extendable. Okay. So we're stuck in the orange juice business. Rain-X, do we think we know what's going to happen? It's going to, like, block out the rain. That X is a bad guy. You guys ever watch Family Feud? What happens when you get an X? That means bad. It means you're wrong. Okay? Now, for rain X, could we have done a little circle with a slash through it for like don't? Like rain don't? Yeah, we probably could. Could be like no rain on our watch. You know, we spray this, what's going to happen? We spray this, we can even, that's if you don't use it, that's if you use it. Wow, I can see the traffic. I don't know that I want to see the traffic, but I can. Okay. Rain X, descriptive brand name. Okay. Now, if you, U-Haul, who's doing the moving? You. U-Haul. You haul it. Doesn't matter if you're buying the box or the bubble wrap or the truck or the dolly. Who's doing it? You're doing it. That means don't ask them to do it. Okay? You're doing it. And then Smart Wool, made out, initially they were a sock company, made out of wool, right? They thought it was pretty smart that, you know, they could last long, be comfortable, moisture wicking, a lot of smart stuff going on. Now they've expanded their logo. Now, before they just had the little yellow socks. Now they got the whole guy covered because they got more than just socks now. So Smart Wool, initially, at least they weren't Smart Wool socks. At least they didn't put socks in the name, because then they'd have to take socks out of the name, and then they'd have to, you know, when they go and expand. Okay, some suggested names. I got a few for you. Anybody ever had Nice lemonade at Walgreens? Anybody had Nice lemonade? It's pretty nice, isn't it? I mean, it's not great. It's not terrible. It's nice. Right? They're suggesting to you, if you drink this lemonade, it's a valued lemonade. If you drink it, you're going to be like, oh, this is nice. Right? What about we go to Walmart? Probably one of the best names there is from a suggestive standpoint. This is great value. This is not like good value. It's not like supreme value or excellent. This is just great. It's not great price. It's great value. Right? Now, if you're going to build an item called great value, that's pretty subjective. What you think is great value and what I think great value are a little different. Okay, so I have a good realm of doing things in my product. And then when I was at CVS, we came up with this brand called Just the Basics. We were trying to do something like great value. Okay, we're like, you know what? Why are we killing ourselves on these like basic stuff? Why don't we just create a brand that's low price, it's low quality, someone comes in, it's just the basics. It's not like over the top, you know, just good enough. I think we missed the mark a little bit, because I think when you hear just the basics, you're not romanced enough to say like great value. Great value is more optimistic. You know, that positive feeling. Just the basics is like, oh, this is just the basics, but it's okay, that's all I need, but I don't know that I want to feel like that. Okay, so we had some other names we worked on, like Go Smart or something like that. That could have been better than just the basics, but these are suggestive brands. I'm suggesting to you that it's great value. Okay? Also, following the store brand, Equate at Walmart. I'm suggesting to you that it's equivalent. Like the Listerine and the Equate Listerine, they're equivalent. They're the same. It's Equate. Okay? Or if I'm at Target, I'm going to say it's up and up. It's on the up and up. Like, this is on the up and up. This is good. It's good stuff. It's just as good. Just as good. It's on the up and up. Okay? I'm suggesting to you. Now, you may disagree. And if I'm wrong, from a quality standpoint, you may not buy the brand at some point. Okay? But I'm suggesting to you. This one, Hello. Right? I love this mouthwash brand called Hello. It suggests that if I use this mouthwash and I come up to you and say hello, you're not going to be offended by me. And it's naturally friendly. So you're going to think I'm friendly, hopefully, in a natural way. And I'm even going to, in my logo, make sure that you're smiling and I'm smiling with this Hello brand. Okay? So we're smiling because we're naturally friendly and we feel comfortable saying hello to one another after using this mouthwash. If I don't use this mouthwash, I'm not going to feel comfortable saying that to you. But using this product, I do. I also want to help you, okay? I know you got problems. You got a headache. You can't sleep. Some of you have allergies. Maybe you cut yourself, okay? I'd like to help. And I've got a line of products that suggest that if you take it, you will get this help. Now, you might say, well, you know, it's not that efficacious looking. It's kind of gimmicky. It's kind of suggestive. I mean, it's not like it's Tylenol or Advil or, yeah, it's not Tylenol or Advil because those are billion-dollar brands with billion-dollar budgets. We're entrepreneurs with no money hardly and no resources. We have to be creative and suggestive and say, can we help you? Or, hello. We're not saying, we don't have the money to build Listerine, but we do have the money to build hello and help. Okay? It's just a brand. And we may have the money to build Proactive. Now, you notice this is Proactive MD. Anybody ever used Proactive before? A little bit, you guys, just past the demographic of Proactive, probably, teens. Okay? And I think the initial brand was Proactive. So what does that mean to you? It's forward, pro. Active means something in the tube is going to do something. So it's going to get ahead of the issue. So if you use this, no acne is going to pop up. Okay? Now, what happens when you want to extend a Proactive name? What do you call the newest version or the better version or the premium version if we get access to some new ingredients? We could say new and improved Proactive. That'll work for a little bit. But what if we want different price points? You know, you're used to paying like $15, but maybe there's some serious people that can't, it's not working at 15, so we got these new ingredients, we're going to charge 30 because they do cost more. Maybe we'll call it Proactive MD. Throw that MD in there, makes it feel like it's more medicine-y inside there, right? It'll work better because it's Proactive MD. Under Armour, I love this brand. Initially, think about it. They were up against Nike and Adidas. They got no chance. So create a brand called Under Armour, which means I'm going to wear this like spandex underwear underneath my Nike and Adidas stuff. Okay? Even in my logo, I'm going to put a U and an A. Okay? I'm going to Under Armour logo. That's my logo. All right, anybody, you guys knew that? No? You guys paying attention? They want you to know that. They're sitting around a room saying, hey, how do we compete? Okay, we're not Adidas and we're not Nike. Let's be Under Armour. We'll be underneath the stuff that they wear. Okay, we need a logo. Well, on a U and an A, can we like jam that together and, you know, and somebody gets a lot of money maybe, create that U and A. Now we fast forward, they're as mainstream as anything. They're just like a Nike or Adidas. Some of the football teams have that logo on the jerseys. There's shoes. I think Steph is an Under Armour guy, maybe. Right? I don't trust it. But. New Balance. What about you guys want to create a new running brand? Someone's going to come in. How are you going to compete with, again, Nike or some of the other ones that are out? Asics or Brooks? Any runners in here? Any good running brands? What should I name something to kind of cut through and get your attention? I don't have a lot of money to spend. I need my brand to kind of work for me. I need my logo to work for me. I'm going to put an N and B next to each other. I'm going to go from a bigger triangle down to thin. I'm going to like I'm moving forward. Those triangles look like they're kind of moving forward. And this N is kind of like halfway. It's like I lost some of the N. Like what happened to the N? Like we moved forward and left some of the N backwards. So we're kind of moving forward on this. And at the same time, we're moving fast. We don't want to fall. We need to be balanced. It's going to be New Balance. Okay? New Balance. Suggesting that if we get these shoes, they'll be legit. They'll be okay for us. Okay? And the last brand I want to show you in this vein is this new brand my wife brought home from the store the other day. And I'm unpacking, and I'm looking at it, and I'm going, that's kind of interesting. Evolve. Huh. I guess what does that mean? It's got special stuff or it's got new stuff. And then I look at it a little closer. I was like, oh my goodness, that's love backwards. And I got on that because I was like, why do they put the E backwards? Because I care about stuff like that. I was like, why do they put the E backwards? That's weird. Like, oh my gosh, that says love backwards. Like maybe I eat it and I look back at the empty plate and I'm like, wow, I love that. That was great. That was good food. I'm going to go get some more Evolve. Right? They could have been Evolve without that. They didn't have to. If they would have put their E the right way, we may not have caught that. It's like the Under Armour stuff. Man, I caught that. Okay? But they want us to catch it. They want us to catch it. They'll think we'll appreciate them and we'll respect them. And then now it's like, oh my gosh, I can't get anything but Evolve. I got to get that next time I go to the store. Yes, ma'am. Because they want you to know. I don't know. It's adamant. Maybe. I mean, maybe I love it, period, or period, I love it. I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe without the dot, someone thought they left off an E. I don't know. By putting the dot there, it's like it tells you they're stopped and it's finished and it's focus on the thing. So apparently this food is pretty good. We've had a few of us, so I'm endorsing it. Okay. All right. Now we go back to some other things people call invented names. That's going to be like people's name or experiential. This is pretty good. This is kind of like suggestive and descriptive. I love how Ford, they created the Explorer, right? It's first SUV you could go off-road and do something, right? And then they're like, that was pretty good. We need to do something else. Well, why don't we make a bigger one? Okay, so what do we call that? Well, why don't we call that the Expedition? Okay, we use that same EX kind of call out. And then that worked. And they're like, well, there's still some people that want it even bigger. What do we call that? We call that the Excursion. Okay, so now you might call it like King Ranch, whatever. I don't know. Do some other branding things like that. Okay, all right. So another concept I want to get into: what is drafting? Any NASCAR fans in the room? Anyone ever been to a NASCAR race? Pretty loud. These things go by. Can you even tell what's going on? I mean, you're just there for the fun, right? Just don't be too close in case those tires fly off. Now, in a drafting scenario, we know, because we're smart, we could read about it, but we know that the car behind is not using as much energy as the one in front. The air turbulence is hitting the first car, and it's like going around it, and it doesn't hit the second car with the same force. So the second car is like cheating a little bit, the scenario, physics. They're probably cheating physics, right? They're getting better gas mileage, it's taking less effort to do what they're doing. And then sometimes at the end, they take all that stored energy, and sometimes they like whip around it and win the race at the very end. Okay? So I want you guys to be brand drafters, okay? Okay, so I want you, on your products, I want you to find something in the marketplace that you respect and like, and I want you to draft off of it, whether it's the color of a package, whether it's the name, the type of package, the flavor, okay, or the purpose. Okay? I'll show you a couple examples. Yeti coolers, we all know, maybe, they're expensive. This is this roadie. It used to be $249, now it's $199. Now it's maybe cheaper than that because it had some competition. But back in the day when it had no competition, and it launched in 2006. A couple of guys, they were fisher people, anglers. They were on the boat. They were catching these fish. They were putting them in their igloo coolers, and the fish weren't smelling so good when they got off the boat. They weren't staying as fresh. They're like, you know what? We should build a cooler that's got really thick walls that can hold the ice and keep the fish in good standing, so when we get back, we can get more out of it, right? And nobody's doing it, and nobody's talking about it, so we can be as premium priced as we need to, and they were. And we can call it bear-proof, and we can let some bear try to chew it. We can even put a Jeep Wrangler on top of it. They're that strong. It can hold a car. 5 years later, people like you sitting in a room saying, hey, let's do something. Let's create something. What should we create? And you start to bring your own personal preferences in. Well, I love Yeti coolers, but man, they're way too expensive. I mean, it doesn't even seem that fancy. I don't know why it's like $250 for like plastic, and, that's got ropes and things of that sort. Why don't we build a cooler? Okay, let's do it. But go back to our value prop. Could we give them more for less in that corner? Could we give them more for less? And I would argue that when the K2 came out, this strap is more than that arm. Okay? You guys don't have kids. You haven't like carried car seats into the back seat of a car, and you have to carry it out here. And so if you have a good back, you won't once you start having kids. Okay? The back goes, okay? Because you're carrying these car seats. Okay? The Yeti Roadie is just like that. Anyone that's ever had to carry that, it's a nightmare. It's really heavy. If you load it down with ice and beer, you're not going to have a very fun time carrying that. Okay? There's no wheels, and there's no straps. It's a dreadful product. Okay? But these guys knew that. These K2 guys. They're like, you know what? They're named after, a mountain range, the Himalayas. The Yeti lives in the Himalayas. We'll be named after a mountain range, K2. They're in Asia. We'll be in Asia. Okay? They're a taupe or khaki. We'll be taupe or khaki. Okay? They call it a 20. We'll call it a 20. Summit 20 versus Roadie 20. We're copying almost a lot of stuff. But then on where we think they made a mistake, like that handle, we're going to improve that. Like, let's make a good handle instead of a bad handle. They really dropped the ball on that handle. Okay? Drafting off a Yeti. Here's another example. The K-Cups invented the world. Changed coffee. Can't even go buy a coffee machine that doesn't take K-Cup anymore, really. Right? Everyone's crying about the environment. For anyone that's crying about the environment, that's a positive word. I'm not saying that's a negative word. So I don't want to offend anybody that's environmentally concerned about the environment on these K-Cups. Okay? Somebody is, not me, but somebody is. They come up with the Easy Cup, right? And so now this is a plastic thing. I can put my coffee in it into the K-Cup. Okay? But there's some challenges. I mean, the coffee sticks to the side, so now they create a silicone that maybe won't stick as much. Now they're creating little filters you can drop in, you can pull those out. So they're evolving so that maybe, but these guys don't exist if these guys don't exist. These guys only exist because they created a new mousetrap, and the mousetrap requires those dimensions. Okay? All right, so those are some branding examples. Some effective messaging. I got your brand on a three-legged stool. What happens on a three-legged stool? If you take one leg away, it's not a stool. Okay, so we need three things that are going to put our brand together. First one's appeal. You need people to want to buy your brand, and you're going to have to create a branding statement to kind of tell them what you're thinking about. Okay, and this is important because it allows you to have the first play at the marketplace. You get to frame the conversation. Now, ultimately, they decide if you're right, and they can change the conversation, but you at least get to start it. And the recommendation here is to start it with, to the target segment and the need. Our brand is this concept and that point of difference. Okay, that sentence helps frame what's going on. I got a couple examples for you. Share with you. To family-oriented adult car owners concerned with safety. To family-oriented adult car owners concerned about safety. That means these people have families, they got kids, and they're concerned about safety. Okay? Michelin tires are the premium tires that can provide a greater peace of mind. What does that premium mean to you? That means they're expensive. If you can't afford them, don't ask. Okay? But if you go for it, you don't have to worry about any issues of safety for your family. One sentence, we told them what they care about. They're in the tire business, and they cost a lot, but they're worth it because they're going to protect your family. And that's all you got, right? I mean, once you have one, that's all you care about. Okay? Michelin does a great job in one sentence framing up the essence of their brand. Okay? The next one, NyQuil, which is a great name. I love NyQuil. It's suggestive. What's it suggesting to you guys? It's at nighttime, NyQuil. Also kind of sounds like tranquil to me. So it's like if I take this product, I'm going to be tranquil at night. I may fall asleep if I'm tranquil and it's nighttime. I might get sleepy and fall asleep. NyQuil. Now you could say, well, they got a problem with extensions. They can only do nighttime stuff. Guess what? They come out with DayQuil. Oh, now they got the yin and yang. Now they can talk day or night. Put them together. They're in good shape. Okay? So they can go do anything they want to do. But in this case, NyQuil says, to adults suffering from a variety of cold and flu symptoms. Okay, so you guys are sick. I know it's messy, your nose, nasals, your headache, lots of things going on. You got issues, okay? NyQuil is the original soothing nighttime cold medicine that effectively relieves symptoms so you can sleep through the night. Original, what does that mean? That means they were the first ones to do it. What does that really mean? That means don't trust CVS version, Walgreens version, Walmart version, any of these other knockoffs. They're just copying us. We were the originals, and we know what we're talking about. So if you are sick, you should trust us. Not gotcha. All right. I want to focus on a couple of these principles of naming. One, we need it to be memorable. Like I mentioned before, you as a person want to be memorable. Your brand, I love this name, Yummy Tummy Koalas. Okay, let's just say this is a gummy bear. Let's just pretend this is a gummy bear. Instead of a bear, it's a koala. We all know koalas are bears, right? Kind of look like them. So I don't know if the shape of this looks like a koala. I don't even know what that would look like in a gummy bear. But let's just say they can make one that looks like a gummy bear. I could call it just koala bears, or koala gummy bears, or I could call it Yummy Tummy Koalas. What does that make you think, suggestive-wise? It's going to be yummy in my tummy, right? I'm feeling optimistic. I'm feeling good. Who wouldn't want that, right? So make it memorable. Say it out loud, like I said before. Answer the phone with your brand name and see if it sounds okay. Okay. Schweppes. Okay, that's tough to spell and tough to say, but it's memorable. Say it out loud. You're going to remember that word. Okay? And it happens to be someone's last name. So again, that falls under the empty vessel. We got to spend a lot of money and time for you guys to know what Schweppes are or means, or that you drink it, because you'd have no idea from a branding name standpoint. Okay, stand out in a crowd. We need to be different so that we get noticed. Example there is the W Hotels. Okay, and also, if you haven't been in a W Hotel, which is really nice, right? It's like distant cousin is maybe the Aloft. Okay. Is it a coincidence that one starts with a W and one starts with an A? No, not really. I think they drafted off of that. It's like this is the Aloft is like the Hampton Inn of the Ritz. Okay. W Hotel, I don't know if it stands for, what's the W mean? I don't know. Maybe women? I don't know. A lot of women like to go there. When I was at CVS and we would go to trade show, everybody was like, oh, we're staying at the W Hotel. Like, okay, that's a pretty cool place. It's expensive though. Wow. Now you got Aloft, just as good, just as modern as the W, probably a fourth of the price. Okay, and then the last thing is your story is going to evolve, just like you have. Okay, when your parents named you, you've come a long way. Okay, there's probably been days when they were like, I'm not sure about Johnny if he's going to make it. Okay, they're like, he came through the other side, right? So your brand's going to do the same thing. It's going to evolve. Okay, so you need to have room there in the name for it to evolve a little bit. All right, so now we got the access that we need to do. Second leg, you got to be able to get the .com from GoDaddy. I don't want any .nets, no .cos, no anything but .coms. If you can't get the .com, then you got the wrong name. The whole world is .com. Okay? If you say someone your name and they type it in, they're going to type in .com. They're not going to type in .co or .net. I don't care. I know you're going to say, well, it's not available. Well, you need to find one that is, that's got the .com. Or it's a premium, it's too expensive. Well, you need to think about how many times you're going to lose customers to the pirate that's going to have the .com on this misspelled version of it. Okay, so you need the .com, don't go after, and be careful in this scenario. Be careful about adding Tallahassee, because what if Madison Social adds, Gainesville? Now they got two websites, Madison Social Gainesville, Madison Social Tallahassee. It's not so good either, right? Make sure you can get the Facebook and the Instagram. It'd be nice if they're all the same, spelled the same, same name, all the same. What if you could get one but not the other two? Well, you probably should keep thinking about names. Okay? It'd be nice if we could get a name where we can get all. Now, what else? We need the TikTok and the Snapchat and the other things? Sure, yeah, whatever. We just need to be on the forefront of all the next generation things, because eventually no one will be here, right? I like to think if you've got a product that's for people over 30, this is where you go, Facebook. Under 30, Instagram. I'd say maybe now 30 to 20. If you're under 20, you're probably not even on Instagram anymore, or something less than that. You guys probably don't even do Instagram anymore. Not quite much. Snap, it's all Snap, right? I think, you know the greatest thing about Snap? The map. Oh my gosh, I can see where everyone is. Oh my God, that is crazy. Like, oh, I can't go to that bar, so-and-so's there. Right? Or I gotta go to that bar, so-and-so's there, right? That map. Last, protection. We're talking about trademarks. We're protecting brands, third highest, okay? We can protect the symbol, logo, word, sound, color, design. I like to think about the color. It has to be non-functional. What does that mean? It means the color means nothing to the product. My favorite is the Tiffany blue box. If you're a woman and you go home, tell mom, Mom, I just got a blue box. What does mom say? He must really love you. If you're a guy and you go home and tell mom that you bought a blue box, what does she say? She's not worth it. Okay? That blue box, everybody knows what it means. Okay? You can trademark that because it doesn't mean anything in the beginning. Now, John Deere could not get green trademarked because green meant grass, and they build tractors that cut grass, and they couldn't get the green trademarked. Okay? So you can trademark a color if it means anything. But the key here is you got to, whatever name you go with, you need to protect it. Because if you don't, someone can take it from you. Someone just start using your name, someone bigger than you. You can't do much about it. Okay? So trademarks are very important. What you can't trademark anything immoral or deceptive. Can't trademark any kind of municipality or government entity. So a lot of clothing brands will have a U.S. flag on it. You're like, why does everybody have a flag on their shirt or hat? Well, because we can all do that. Any brand can do that. Any brand can do Tallahassee, Seal, because they're municipal. Now, you got to try to do Florida State like the Spear, you're in trouble. Don't try to do that. That's not going to be able to trademark those kinds of things. And you can't trademark a person's name. So if you're Bob and you want to open a pizza shack, you could be Bob's Pizza Shack. Nobody can keep you from doing that if your name's Bob. Okay? That's why a lot of times law firms, aren't trademarked things of that sort. Okay, now, how come sometimes I see the same name in the marketplace? Like, how can there be a Monster drink and an HR company and some old speakers named Monster? How does that happen? Well, you trademark it by category. Okay? So they categorize themselves in the beverage department and maybe in the supplement business. Okay? Maybe if they were smart, so maybe one day we could take a pill that gives us the same benefit as the drink. Okay? Maybe they could do that. But the HR people, different kind of business. Now, are we worried about someone doing something bad over here and it hurting our name if we got the same? Yeah, we should worry about that. But if it's a good name and no one's using it in that category, it might be worth going for. Okay, so you can go for a name that does exist in another part of the business. Okay? All right, now what do we do? How do we search? We go to uspto.gov. Okay, we find this TESS, T-E-S-S. We go to this basic word search. We click on that. We type in something. I did grab bag. I don't know why I did grab bag. Just did. Okay, what happened? 48 things came back. Is 48 a good number? Yeah, that's probably pretty good. It could be 4,000. Be like, oh, that's bad. If it was 0, that's real good, but maybe I need to misspell it, and see if anybody else is doing it. And really, if I'm really doing this and I'm going really far with it, I'm going to pick up a phone and call an attorney, and I'm going to say, hey, for $100, will you give me an opinion? Like, do some just quick research. Tell me, is it like good to go, questionable? No way. Okay, that's not what they call it, but those are the 3 buckets. Good to go, questionable, no way. You get a no way, change the name. You get a questionable, probably change the name. You get a good to go, then go for it. Okay, get a trademark usually about $2,000 or $3,000 on your own. Okay, you might use a law clinic and get it cheaper, okay, or come get a micro brand for doing some of that stuff. But in grab bag, 48 people, and you see some things say live or dead. Okay, we know if it's live. Well, we click on it, we see what kind of category. Is it the Monster drink? Is it the Monster HR? Or is it the Monster headphones? So we need to figure that out, because we could still do it if it's not our category. So we check all the lives, but then sometimes we need to check the deads, okay? Because maybe the dead tells us someone tried to get it and someone stopped them. And like, oh, they tried and they abandoned. Well, maybe because someone else stopped them. So maybe we don't even go down that road and we'll come up with another name. Okay. All right, so we got the 3 stools. We got the, we're ready to go, but we need a logo. Okay. What's the logo's purpose? Identification, differentiation, and aid recall. I don't know why it goes 1, 2, 1. Anytime I go to a PC to a Mac, Mac to a PC. So we want to identify, okay? We want to differentiate, and we want to aid recall. Okay, there's 2 parts, the name and the mark. You guys all know the swoosh, that's a mark. The name is Nike, the swoosh is the mark. Sometimes, in the old days, they were together. Now they're so big, they can just give you the swoosh. Or now they got the jump man. Like, what's going on with that? Like, why are, like, football teams putting the jump man on their jerseys? I don't understand. Jordan was a basketball player. Why are they doing it? Gators have it. Michigan has it. Some other people. I don't know. But once you got a swoosh, you're pretty good. Got the apple. Those are things. So if you look at the difference of the types, we can have a logo type, which is just typed out. You see Exxon with a couple X's crossed. They thought that was smart. We could do monograms, so IBM, International Business Machine, or General Electric for GE, or when we see the golden arches as the logo, we got McDonald's. Okay, we got the golden arches, McDonald's. Okay, we also got abstract marks, like the Apple, Cisco, BP. We got to be careful on our logo. We got to print this. Okay, so the BP logo, probably hard to print. A lot of greens and yellows. It's going to look a lot of different things when it comes on printers. When I was at CVS, we had a red was the logo. CVS, you ever drive one, you see a red logo. One day we got a new plane. We decided to put the logo on the plane because it's a company plane. People were like, why is the plane orange? Like, it's not. It just didn't print right. It was the same Pantone we used. It's our CVS red, but it looks orange on the plane. Okay, so you got to be careful sometimes on those kinds of things. All right, then we could have descriptive mark where maybe the cotton, the T's are into the cotton plant. It's pretty smart. And then lastly, you know, the old tried and true, just throw a seal there. Yes, sir.
Cisco, I kind of thought that was supposed to be the Golden Gate Bridge, San Francisco.
It could be, probably so. Probably a combination. It could also look like some data points on a map or something. But yeah, I mean, sounds like I don't know enough about that company, but I'd say that may be the Golden Gate, or they want you to think that. Pretty smart, right? Chase, I don't know what that wheel is. Maybe that's just the wheel of progress. I don't know. Maybe it's just you're just a cog in the wheel. You know, you're just I don't know what it means. All right, but it means something to them, and it should mean something to you when whatever you decide to go with. Okay, so we've got to execute. Last piece of this, our path forward. Okay, I'm going to give you a little bit of the marketing side of it. Okay, just a bundle of intangibles. You guys know what intangible means? You can't put your hands on it. Just it's our messaging. It's how we're thinking about it, but it's hard to necessarily articulate it. Okay, marketing is going to be now. We will need to be as consistent as we can so that it does mean something, and maybe it reflects the company's brand intent. Okay, core values. Okay, I got this chart for you here that I want you to understand that in marketing, sometimes you advertise and sometimes you promote, and sometimes that could be interchangeable, and we don't even know. We use them both. We don't even know what they mean. Okay. Advertise means I'm going to give some information. Promote means I'm going to deal. I'm going to cut the price. Okay? There's certain products that I'm better off advertising, and other products I'm better off dealing. Okay? We go back to that SUV chart. We're thinking about an LX470. You guys know what they sell for? 80 plus, 100 plus, whatever. If you need to know, if you're interested, you don't need to ask. Okay? If they send you a coupon in the mail, $1,000 off an LX470, you think anybody cares? I mean, I'd say it's nice, $1,000, but I can't afford the other 80. Okay? And anybody that can afford the 80 is not looking at coupons in the mail. They're just chucking them. So $1,000 off for an LX470 means nothing. Now, You talk about how the new leather in the LX470 is like so soft you could fall asleep, or the screen on the dashboard is now like 18 inches wide, and you can order take-home dinner on the way home with a click of the steering wheel. Oh, you got my interest. I don't care what it costs. I just want that stuff. Okay? So some things we want to advertise, some things we want to deal. Okay? If we're talking about loyalty, if it's a high loyal product like Apple, we're going to talk about all the features, all the new stuff, the 3 cameras, the waterproof. We're not talking about the price, because it doesn't matter if we come out at $1,000 or $800. You're paying $45 a month for the next 2 years, so you can have that 3 camera thing, because somehow that's important to you. Okay? So if it's high brand loyalty, we're going to advertise. Okay? If you need a lot of information, we're going to advertise. That's like the Lexus. Okay? If the cycle is mature or growing, we're going to advertise. If it's new, we're going to have to deal to get you to try it. Okay? Or if it's dying, we're going to have to deal to get you to go with it still. Okay? Market share. If we have high market share, we're going to talk about our strengths. If we have low market share, we're going to deal. If we're the new pizza shop, we're going to give you a free coupon for a free pizza. When Blaze opened in the marketplace, they gave you a free pizza on one of the days. Lines out the door. Okay? The next week, they went back to the places they were. Maybe they got some of them to come back. Now we got to be careful. What about Bed Bath & Beyond? You get that 20%? We only go there if we got that 20%. Because they do it too much, we feel like an idiot if we go buy anything there. Now, you guys don't go there anyway, but one day you'll go there, you'll be like, oh, I don't have my coupon. I'll come back next week because I'll get another coupon. Okay? I can't afford it. I mean, it could be worth like $3, and the gas you're going to drive home, and the gas you're going to come back, but you feel like an idiot, so you're not going to do it without that. Okay, purchase pattern, predictable. We're going to talk about it. Okay, so it's spring break. You guys need a bathing suit. You guys need sunscreen. We're going to say, hey, we're in stock. We're ready for you. Okay? If it's unpredictable, I'm going to have to give you a price and a reason to come by. It's unpredictable. We'll have to give you a price and get you to come by. Okay? If you're sensitive to price, I'm going to deal. If you're not sensitive, price doesn't mean anything to you. Okay? And then lastly, if there's strong differentiation, we're going to talk about why we're better. If there's little, we got to use price. Okay? So if we got the same stuff, we're going to have to outprice them. If we got something special, we can talk about that. We don't have to. So now, if you guys wanted to create something, wouldn't it be nice if we could get high loyalty? A lot of information, that's not so great. If we can get a high market share, predictable purchase pattern, okay? They don't care about price. Okay? And we got strong differentiation, meaning we got a patent, or maybe we do a deal with a manufacturer. We're the only ones that can do this. Okay? Let's just talk about it, and we can get full margin from us and make some money. Okay? If not, we're in what you consider kind of the football side of the business, where 1 week you're buying Coke and the next week you're buying Pepsi, and then you're Coke and Pepsi, whichever one's on sale. You're flipping back and forth. All right. Last slide before I open up for questions. This has changed a ton in the last 10 or 15 years. Okay, there's no broadcast really anymore, other than maybe YouTube now, right? And print kind of died, right? And physical is still there, but it's all about digital. And maybe we still do some events and sponsorships and things like that. But no matter what your marketing tactics are, or your vehicles, these are all called vehicles of how we're going to communicate our message. Okay? When we're doing this, we got to get it on one piece of paper. We got to map this thing out. Look at the months up above. We got to think about seasonality. Okay, so let's think about this guy right here, this hoodie, right? We're going to be showing that in July? Maybe. We're going to show it in May? Probably not. We got the whole summer. Wait for the fall. July, maybe it'll get cold around here. We show it today, maybe you guys buy it, although it's really hot outside. But tomorrow night, it's supposed to get chilly. So if I talk about this hoodie, you might want it now, right? unless we're nervous about Saturday. Okay, if we're nervous about Saturday, maybe we'll say, well, let's wait till Monday to see if I want to buy that hoodie, right? We win the game on Saturday, we're back in it. It's, we're back, I'm buying the hoodie. If we don't, I may buy a gray one that says something else, right? So if I'm in this business, you think I care about the results? Yeah, it's dreadful. If I'm a hotel or restaurant in this town, my whole livelihood's at stake for them. Those 60 minutes that happen, just 10 times a year. Drive my whole business, right? So if you put it all on one piece of paper, you can kind of see the ebbs and flows of when you want to do something. This is one of my favorite pictures here. This is in Europe because we wouldn't do anything that cool in the U.S., probably against the law, okay? But this is a FedEx truck that shows a DXL truck on the back side of it. Now, they had to paint the truck, so it didn't cost them any more. Maybe they got 2 color paints instead of 1 paint, or maybe a couple different paints, but it shows that second place truck there. Just smart, right? Just showing FedEx just ahead of the competition, just a little bit, suggesting that they're maybe a little better, a little faster, right? Than this. This is an actual FedEx truck painted. I go back, I'll show you one more. If I can go back to this, I'll go to this slide here. You guys didn't appreciate it as much because we didn't talk about it. But when we went to the U-Haul, it's another good example of them being creative in their branding. And you've all sat behind one at a parking lot or a stoplight. And you see the Penske deck is here and the U-Haul deck is there. And it's just throwing a little bit of shade, because they can, right? And this is why you would rent for us. Now, you're still doing it, but at least our trucks are a little smarter than their trucks. Right? And if anybody's ever jumped off one of those trucks, it's pretty high. All right. So with that, it gets me to the end. Any questions I can help you guys with? Because when you get to the finals and you post your brand, and it's hard to say or spell, and your website doesn't match your Facebook and your Instagram, I'm going to be cringing in the back, saying, man, they missed some opportunities to be consistent with their brand. Oh, how does the cube work? I speak into it? Oh, they do. Anybody want the cube? Pass the cube. Gonna toss it. Is that how it works?
Hello. Yes. Okay. So just going back on the trademarking. So you talked about when you trademark, there's that possibility of somebody else having that same name just because it's a different category. Is there any way you can actually protect yourself from that, especially if your name, it depends on the industry or whatever?
Okay, so once you're trying to name yourself, and you're going to find them in another category, and you're going to be able to do it anyway because you're in a new category. So your question is, you get your trademark. Is there any way to keep someone in another category from doing it? No.
Okay. So
Now,
that's
if you see them trying, now in part of the trademark, they have to publish their intent in a newspaper, and there's 30 days to oppose it, okay? And so you could be following it, maybe you've got an attorney that monitors it, somebody's trying to do your name in a different category, you could have your attorney send a nice letter that says, hey, we have this trademark, we appreciate you not doing that. Now, you may not say, I know we're in a different category, and I know you can do it, but I still don't want you doing it, okay? But if you send a letter, that may be enough for someone like me, an entrepreneur, to be like, oh, I'm not touching that, because they're litigious. Okay? When we first opened our store, we weren't even open, but we started the trademark in May, and we opened in November. And in September, I was Googling the name, right? Sometimes if you ever Google your own name, it's crazy what comes up sometimes. Sometimes you Google the name you're trying to brand, and it came up as a place in St. Louis was trying to be a clothing store called Southern Compass Outfitters. Now, I had my trademark, they didn't have a trademark, they had a Facebook account with like 1 follower or something, probably themselves. So I had my attorney send a friendly letter to St. Louis that says, hey, this brand is trademarked, we would appreciate you going with another name, and they did. Okay, so now, you might say, I'm in Tallahassee, they're in St. Louis, did it matter? In the beginning, probably not. But if long-term, we both exist, we're both selling online, you order from one, you complain to the other, it's about confusion, and, and you're putting effort into that brand, so why not protect it?
Okay, awesome, thank you.
Thank you. If the name of your business is very suggestive, so you know like what it's going to be about and you can say it, how important is the spelling?
Well, if it's a brand that you think they're going to search online, it can be, but maybe you could run some Google AdWords, and redirects or somehow, if someone types in the misspelled word, the right spelled word, maybe you could have an ad over to the side, and they see the logo and they're like, oh, that's what I wanted, and I click on that. So maybe you could try to buy that word spelled differently or wrong. That could be a tactic. But I would say, I would vote a good suggestive name that people can say can be worth it than one that's not suggestive, that's not going to be misspelled. So I would go the route you're thinking about.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a question more so about like the features of your company. Like, how do you protect a feature that you feel is branded or like novel for the game? And like maybe you're the first one to do that, but it can easily be replicated if.
Yeah. So the only, from a product feature standpoint, the only way to really stop somebody is probably to seek a patent. And it's either got to be a design or a utility, and it's got to be worth enough to fight it, to be willing to fight for it in a courtroom, which is going to be very expensive. And even with that, the patent's only good for 20 years. So, you could potentially do a patent pending, which gives you a year, kind of get a head start, and then at the end of the year, you either got to do it or you don't do it. But that 1 year could be enough to just scare off some people from, get that 1 year head start.
Like
And really in the marketplace, in my opinion, first in wins. So if you jump in with something unique and you do a good job and you talk about it, it doesn't matter if someone comes behind you necessarily, because if you have a vision for where you're going, you're going to be one step ahead of them the whole time. Okay? But marketplace is the marketplace. You could easily emulate someone today with your product, and they could be like, "That's not very nice." You think Walgreens likes CVS coming across the street? You think, no, they don't. But it is.
Yeah, I was like looking at like the Yeti, like just with the strap, like, so why couldn't Yeti just get a strap?
They could, but then you would be saying that the tail's wagging the dog. There's going to be some pride in there, that they would rather probably have a bad feature than to say, well, we're going to copy the new guy. If they're smart, maybe they'd say, you know what, that's an interesting scenario. What would be the next version of that we could go? Okay, so they told us that ours is not the right one, but is theirs the right one? And could we brainstorm around, get ahead of what would be the best version of that?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Wait, in front of me? I'm sorry.
In regards to extendability, you brought that up a lot. Suppose, we've gone big, we've gone multinational now. Let's say one name resonates much better in the U.S. and another name resonates better in China, for example. What would we do?
Well, where do you start? You start in the U.S., you gotta get that right first. If you don't get that right, you won't get to China. Now, it doesn't mean you can't have multiple brand names for multiple markets. You can even if you come in at a premium, let's say Michelin tires, premium price, but they know how to make tires. Could they make a cheap version, a nice version, or a great value version? They could. And they could have two horses in the race. And some brands do that, where they position themselves on a high end and a low end. So, you know, if you've got the perfect name for the US, I'd say go for that. And then if it goes, extending that to China, it's not the right name, then you've got to come up with a new name for China. And maybe there's a hybrid, maybe it's this by that, you know, so there's some, you're still drafting off of your US goodness, but you're recognizing that in the China market, you need to do something unique.
Speaking of intellectual property, how do you ensure that your intellectual property holds in a place like China? And then can you go in depth about design patent and utility patent as well?
I mean, there's no guarantees that a patent will be respected anywhere, okay? And so, sometimes you decide whether you can seek one if you're willing to fight for it and defend it, okay? So let's say that the patent process is like $5,000 a hit, but it's gonna cost you $50,000 to defend it. And you're a small company, you don't have $50,000 to defend it, why even spend the $5,000 to start with? You know, so, you know, from that perspective, the second question, difference between a design and a utility. So if you do something unique that hasn't been done, okay, you can fall into the utility, so maybe you bring three things together and it becomes one thing, or nobody's, you know, no one's ever created a table that rolls, you know, so the rolling thing is pretty powerful. The design function is not as strong of a patent protection because you can have someone like slightly change it, and then it's like, well, are you infringing? Well, let's see what the court says after we spend a lot of money and threaten each other. You know, so, you know, if you're in the utility patent realm, that's probably more likely or worth going for because you're doing something that's never been done. If you're in the design, it's kind of like a nice to have, but you better be willing to defend it type of scenario. I hope that helps. You know, that side of the business is not necessarily my expertise.
But patents do hold worldwide, correct?
They, I mean, from a trademark standpoint, you trademark by country. Patents, I think they're probably by country as well. So, another country doesn't really, you hear on the news all the time that, you know, China is not respecting the U.S. intellectual property, and that's a big deal. So, my guess is, now, just because it's made in China, if it comes back into the U.S., you could maybe try to stop the person selling the product, saying that they're selling an infringed product. But if they're in China making it, selling in China, and here in the U.S., you know, it's not worth really worrying about. You can't do anything about it.
Because typically, I mean, I'm not a patent expert at all either, but you get a patent is a US patent. And then there are, I think, a group of countries, you can get an international patent that certain countries have all agreed to honor it, do it. But then, like places like China, you'd have to get a whole different patent, and then you'd have to enforce it and probably.
But as an entrepreneur, to have that problem means you had a lot of good things go right for you to get to that problem. Okay? So, we should all, you know, we'd all probably, you know, high five if you get to that problem. Is it as good the second time?
Thank you.